Most people have probably heard the phrase bread and circus, right? Bread and circus was the formula that the Romans used to keep the populace happy. And basically what it meant was keep them entertained and keep them fed. Nobody in Rome was hungry, or I mean, no, I don't know if nobody was hungry, but you know, they were able, they avoided the kind of food riots that they had in France that led to the French Revolution. Let's put it that way. Bread and circus. The Republicans are confronted with a very similar problem. How do you keep people happy when they're fundamentally unhappy? How do you keep people voting for you when their lives are being turned to dirt? I mean, you know, middle-class, working-class people, they're being ruined. And the Republicans, you know, their mission is tax cuts for the rich and raise taxes, raise fees, make more money off working people and the poor. It's real simple. And, you know, there's just like, there's no list, there's no end to it all. I mean, but in the midst of all this, while they're doing this, the challenge that the Republican Party has is how can they avoid having a conversation about anything that Bernie Sanders says? And increasingly that Hillary Clinton says. She just came out yesterday, by the way, with a very strong statement. She would go even farther than President Obama in terms of executive orders on deportations to keep the Dreamers here. And she said, let's keep their families here, too. Which, of course, is going to turn the right way. I mean, the right-wingers are going to go crazy. They always do. But increasingly, so what? So, you know, Bernie Sanders, if you look at the issues, these are the things that the Republicans want to make sure people aren't talking about. He wants to, roll back the Reagan tax cuts. My phrase, not his. But basically raise the top tax rate on very, very wealthy people. Reagan dropped it from 74% down to 25%. And Bernie is like, that's a mistake. Well, we can't have a discussion about that in Republican circles because the average working class Republican might agree with raising taxes on rich people, especially if it means that the bill for their health insurance goes down or that the schools that their kids go to get better. Republicans are not idiots. They're just, in this case, being played for suckers. And there's a very sophisticated operation to do it. You got Fox So-Called News, you know, the official voice of the Confederate States of America. You've got hate radio, right-wing hate radio all across this country. You know, heavily funded and subsidized by very large corporations. So, number one, Bernie Sanders wants to raise taxes. Number two, he wants to expand the social safety net to protect the poor. Number three, he wants to have single-payer health care. No more health insurance companies. Stephen J. Hemsley's made over $1 billion running United Healthcare. He's going to have to, like, what, go out of business? No, well, you'd have to scale back. You could become like the health insurance companies in Germany or in Switzerland where, you know, if somebody has so much money that the normal health insurance that the government provides isn't enough, then, you know, they can buy a private, you know, they can buy health insurance that would provide for like a private room or a private wing or whatever it may be. But anyway, so, you know, the health insurance companies could survive. They're just not going to be as big as they are under a Bernie Sanders presidency. He favors breaking up the too big to fail banks. I guess he's not going to get any donations from Jamie Dimon. He favors a $15 an hour minimum wage. He favors stronger support for organized labor, and he favors legalizing pot. By the way, these are all positions of Elizabeth Warren as well.